Hey y'all, come back, come back, come back. Hey girl, Amor, is this better? Can you see me more clearly? Hey, hi behavior health. Thank you so much for joining us. Amor, is it clear? Is it blurry? Oh, it's okay. Good. Hi Rejoice Boutique. Hi, enjoy today. Okay, good. Thank you. So it's much better. Amor, I need you to text me back, sis. But hi everyone. So we're waiting for our guests to rejoin. Hey. Thank you so much for being on the live tonight. I really appreciate you. Let's see. Thank you, sis. Okay, Rashad, I see you. You back on the live or whatever. Is it clear now? Because I know you're probably trying to come from my Wi-Fi. Okay. Period. Okay. So we're waiting. Waiting. Let's see. Okay. Hey, sis. I'm glad you came back. Okay. Y'all came back. I appreciate it. Oh, waiting. I feel like I need some music. How was your day? Hey. So we're waiting for the guests to log back in. Just a few more moments. Few more moments. Hi. How was your day? Was it raining where you all are located? Did you have a rainy day? I know it's raining where I am, where we are in Richmond. Hi, enjoy today. Thank you so much for joining. So we're waiting on our guests to come back. Yes, self-care. Okay, Rashad, go black women, period. Ebony, I'm here for it. Downpours all day. Yes, same here. Um, Definitely downpours. And so thank you so much for your patience. Um, but I'll just briefly just say who I am for those who may not know. So I am Danielle Beal, the CEO and founder of Melanin Mental Health and Ministry, which is a business that I created to empower Black women and clergy to be intentional about self-care to improve mental health. So mental health is something I'm very passionate about. And Brittany, she's very passionate about mental health as well. And so I'll allow her to tell you all about her business again when she connects. So let me see. Let's see. So we're waiting on her to get back on. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, there's Brittany. Brittany, I just sent you a request. Okay, there we go. This is much better. Yeah, I'm not freezing. So it was me. Brittany, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much everyone for your patience and for rejoining us. And so I just briefly introduced myself again while I was waiting. And if you like, you can go ahead and reintroduce yourself as well.
Okay. Yes, I'm Brittany Lyons. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia, raised in Virginia Beach. I actually just graduated from STVU, and I'm a licensed minister from Norfolk as well. My home church is New Calvary Baptist Church, with the senior pastor of William Marcus Small and our executive pastor, Byron Harris. I'm so excited to be here with my sis to just to learn more about what she does with her ministry and how we both incorporate it with mental health. I'm a strong mental health advocate. I have my own business, LLC's Brittany Erica Lyons, and I also have a business called Twisted Oil Blends, where we use those oils to help with our mental health, fight against depression and anxiety. And I'm so excited to share more of that with you all tonight.
Yes, and so I'm super excited as well. And again, everyone, the topic tonight is Black women and the forbidden word, which is self-care. And the reason why I chose the topic, the forbidden word, is because it's not something that we often talk about in the Black community, especially not the Black church. And we both being clergy persons, we understand, and not only just clergy, but Black women, because that makes a difference as well in ministry. And so self-care is not something that we're often taught about. And so we're often expected to, Black women don't really get a chance to rest. We don't get a chance to be. It's pretty much, we always have to be on. And I've realized really early on that I cannot always be on. It's unhealthy. When I'm always on, I'm not able to be productive and to be my best self. And so, Brittany, how has your experiences been in ministry as a Black woman as it relates to self-care? Did you ever feel that you had to prove why you were called and, found yourself serving and serving and serving to the point of burnout?
Uh, so honestly, I had to prove myself why I was called because first of all, I couldn't understand a person who I think I was about 23 years old when I received the call, and I was just questioning that whole situation like, God, I know you didn't call me and I'm already got some stuff with me that I'm dealing with as it is. So you called me for ministry. And so I always felt, especially being a Black woman, even though I come from a church that really strengthened Black women in ministry and really support us in ministry, we still have other people, other brothers and sisters who really don't agree with that too. So it's like, it was very, even though I received that support from my home church, I was trying to understand that same support with myself, trying to give myself that support to do that. And so it was more so proving myself, am I equipped? Can I do this? Am I supposed to even be here? And so my mental health was challenged too, because I questioned myself too, like, did God really call somebody with mental health? And so I had to really understand that for myself. Yes, God has called me. The way God has created me is for a reason, a purpose. And I've learned that with ministry, while you're trying to prove yourself, if you're equipped, that can also burn you out too. And so it can really cause you to, get to a really dark moment and not want to do anything only because you don't believe in yourself. And so, with my own ministry, I had to carve that out for myself on what I thought that looked like and what I believe God was calling me to do. And I had to learn that it's not going to look like everyone else. It's not going to be about standing on that pulpit.
Right.
It's about what are you going to do outside of that pulpit. And so even though it's a beautiful experience, it's also an even more beautiful experience when you're hands-on with the people. And most of the time, those people don't look like you, don't come from the same background as you, and also dealing with some stuff as you are too. So I had to learn that it's gonna look different compared to what it looks like on a Sunday morning, where you're all dressed up, you got it all clothed, you're looking good, you smelling good. But when you dig right through that stuff, that's where the real ministry is, what's underneath all of that.
Right.
And I had to learn that for myself. I had to figure out the real ministry is lying beneath the blush, the glow,
yes,
the makeup, the MAC.
Yes.
Okay, like all that. The ministry is down there. And that stuff that's down there is the stuff that you really don't want to look at. You want to cover it up.
Right.
And so that's why that's where I learned the real ministry was deep, deep, deep inside.
Mm.
And I'm like, exactly.
Right. No, but seriously, because I can relate to that, because me too, being accepting my calling at 27 years old. I'm running from the calling and then finally getting planted at 29. And I'm still like, God, I'm too young. I'm not ready for all of that. And then, just coming into ministry and realizing the challenges that many Black women still face and actually being oblivious to those challenges. And so actually coming into that awareness of the struggles that Black women faced, it really affected me mentally. I'm just being in a space feeling like, am I enough? Feeling like I have to shift so many times as a Black woman. I'm being young, also demanding respect, but not having people to say, oh, you're too young. Or, just realizing once I became a minister, how some people didn't want to address me as minister. Because they saw me as young, and as a woman. And so just all of those things, it really wore on me mentally. And it got to a point with me where I was a part of almost every ministry. I'm at a mega church. I'm at every meeting. I'm missing out on family events. I'm missing out on time with myself. And it was to the point that my circle of friends, it became depleted. I was distant from my family. And I was like, okay, this isn't healthy. And it was at that point that I ended up having a panic attack in a doctor's office. And so for me, that was the breakthrough for me.
Exactly.
Forget all of this.
It was like, girl, I totally get it. Because see, the way God is so funny acting sometimes, we understand how controlling God can be. But what God did for me when I was going through my ministry, me trying to figure out, am I even called? Because literally I got the call, like, you know how the Jeremiah story, you hear this voice, right?
Right.
And I was like, hold up. Mommy and daddy are knocked out. It's 3, 4 in the morning. Like, I know you're not calling me.
Right.
Like, it's like when you hear God's voice, God has a color to its voice, right? And all I could feel was this brown, like mahogany, beautiful color. But I heard the voice, and I'm just like, so I'm in my early 20s. Mind you, my brother had just passed away. So it was actually, my calling was in the midst of his death. Okay. And I was dating, I ain't gonna lie, I was dating boyfriends, like, okay. So now I was just trying to figure out, why is God bringing these certain kind of guys to me? They're ministers, they preachers, like, what are you doing? And I had to realize God sometimes will meet you where you think you will listen, and then pull you away once God is like, okay, I got you. And so what I'm saying, it was through my real life journeys, like when I was dating and stuff, trying to figure out why I'm dating this guy. Like, I would never be interested in this kind of guy. But it was like I was seeing God through that person, because God was showing me myself, the things that I was dealing with. And then it was like through those trials and those broke down relationships and them going bad and all that stuff, it was like God is like, I got you where I need you to be. I'm trying to tell you, there's a calling on your life. I protect you for so many stuff, and I'm trying to tell you. And I was always running, and you would have thought I would have got tired. Girl. I think I finally realized at 30, even through seminary, I was questioning, like,
that's
I ain't
real.
going to nobody's chapel today. Like, I'm sorry.
Me too. Me too.
I'm not lying. Like,
that was me.
Like, I'm not having it. Point blank in the story. I'm tired. And then so when my ministry started with singing in the choir. I sung in the choir all my life since I was 10 years old. And it was to the point where I thought it was because I got lost into the routine of how I was meeting God, that it was separating me from my relationship with God. And so relationship is really key. And I had to figure out, I love singing, but this is not where God is using me at for real. And once I started realizing where I was seeing God's face, I was like, okay, I get it. Now I'm in seminary. All right, Lord.
Right.
And I think it's only when you're a woman and you're a Black woman in ministry, and then you already got to prove yourself to, I'm not talking about your pastors and all that stuff. I'm talking about the people that call you your colleagues. It's like, in a way, you got to prove to them, I've been called too. And I was getting tired of that.
Right.
I'm not waking up trying to prophesize over you, but I got to prove to you that no. Right. I had to figure it out that the ministry that's lying beneath me is just as great, and it's different because the person who needs it is going to be connected, and it's going to resonate with them. And I'm just go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say no. That's good, because that's the same thing that I learned in my process as well. It just got to a point where I'm tired of trying to prove. I'm tired of trying to overwork. I'm burning myself out. I don't have energy. And I realized that Dr. Jessica Young Brown, when she said, the scripture says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It says, I can, but not necessarily you should. And so just really coming into that awareness of learning how to say no and set those boundaries, which I believe are so critical for us as Black women, not only in ministry, but in every aspect of our lives, because Black women are expected to be the backbone of their families. They are typically expected in society to relocate for their spouses and to give up their dreams and all of those, everything. Like, you just give up everything. As if you're a Black mother, you're not supposed to have a break, because then you're a bad mother if you desire the break. And so just all of that. And so Michelle Obama said we need to do a better job of putting ourselves higher on our own to-do list. And so when you look at your life now, do you feel like where do you fall on your to-do list? Are you intentional about making sure that you're a priority?
After watching myself cry, watching myself not be able to sleep, watching myself going to therapy, I was like, I had to change this. First of all, what started with me, all of this that we're talking about, I had to work through seminary, right?
Me too.
And so it was through seminary I learned who Brittany Erica Lyons is, like, period. And so by then it was like, once I realized, I don't like that over there. I thought I was supposed to like that. We're always taught how, even when it comes to sexuality, we're taught to, as being a Black woman, you're going to find that boyfriend, and you're going to find that husband, and then you're going to get married, and da-da-da. I was like, hold up. I don't want that. I don't want that. And it was like, once I became okay with me, I was able to live freely. And so by living authentically through my eyes, my ministry got real. And it started unfolding itself. See, I feel like the best ministry is when you can really connect with who you are. Once you connect with your foundation first of who you are and what you like to do, not by what mama and daddy and grandma and aunties and all that, what they think you're supposed to do. Once you have figured out through God, that's when the ministry releases itself. Because if you look at it this way, I had to come to realization that I have mental health. It is a fact. I deal with depression, anxiety. I hear it all. And it was through that I had to figure out, well, dang, like, this is kind of rough, But I had to realize those things that I thought were messy and gross and icky and yucky, they were actually a part of the ministry that God has birthed inside me. Because what I've seen, we all, if we have a heart, if we have organs, if we have bones, and they can all get all little messy or get bent out of shape, or something goes out of whack, why wouldn't our mind not do the same?
Right.
And so I had to come to a place where I had to learn how to heal that too. You could check your physical health and your, and all that stuff, but your emotional health, your mental health is just as important.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah. And I feel like as Black clergy women, we're supposed to keep that, that armor where we don't break down. We gotta still be mama. We gotta be daddy. We gotta do all of this. And we gotta do it all through ministry too. We gotta still prove ourselves that we're supposed to be there too.
Right.
And I feel like that's the issue. We have to continue to prove ourselves. Can you just only imagine every Black clergy woman who's still proving herself at 55,
right,
at 70,
right?
That's tiring.
And I think even in the space of Black women who they marry someone who is clergy, and then so they may not necessarily have the calling, but then they are thrust into those roles. And so just we're not given the space as Black women to just be our authentic selves. It's like, okay, let me groom you for this. Let me groom you for this right here. And what I realized is that in the Black church, if you don't know how to say no, then anytime that they ask and you say yes, oh, you're gonna be ran right into the ground.
Oh yeah.
Because you're gonna be ran into the ground. And so boundaries are not something that we've been taught in the Black church, in our homes, in our communities. We don't talk about boundaries. And so my question is, as a minister, do you think the collective Black church does a good job at modeling self-care? And if not, how can the Black church become better at being the example of self-care?
I can say this was probably my early stages of answering my call. And so I was trying to do everything that was right. Meaning, even if I didn't feel like going to Bible study, I was going to go. But it was important that I went on this particular Wednesday because one of the members mentioned self-care. And I was like, what is that? What is, huh? I didn't even know what that was because we're not taught to really care for us as persons, as
Right.
persons of color. We're not even taught how to care for ourselves. It's supposed to be a white thing. Therapy is supposed to be a white thing.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, even if it's, therapy, yoga, that's a white person's thing. We weren't even taught to just sit and be mindful. This is something that just came up. It's like this thing just came about in 2020. And for real though, it's like this whole be this and be that too. That just came it's always been amongst us, but it just became popularized to be mindful. And for us Black people, because where we have come from and still dealing with enslavement, being enslaved. Right. We weren't taught to be quiet. We were taught to be quiet. We weren't taught to be quiet for ourselves, meaning to be mindful and be able to understand what am I feeling like. We were never taught that. So can you only imagine trying to do that in the Black church?
Exactly.
And we still operating like we still enslaved in the Black church in 2020.
Come on.
So it's like there's certain things that all of this has why I have my issues with the Bible the way I do.
Talk about it.
Okay, we can talk about it. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not feeling with the Bible. Okay. But a lot of it, I have to go in that when I'm reading the Bible, I have to go into it like a manual, like a DMV book.
Okay.
And when I'm reading it, I'm taking my feelings out of it. I'm reading it, right? So when I see something oppressive in there, I can look at it and choose whether or not I'm going to digest that. Because I believe we have the power to reject whatever our spirits don't agree with, right?
Okay.
And so to connect back to self-care, we're not taught to do that. I mean, if it's not written in our faces, if it's not written down, it's not being taught, or we're not taught how to do it. And I feel like because we're not being taught how to really be mindful for ourselves, we're not doing it in the church. I promise you, if the pastor would just preach about what it means to self-care, I feel like it would really heal. It would heal. I really do. And I feel like because, that's not being discussed, it's not being preached, it's not being read out loud, people are still to this day like, what does that mean? And at that time when I was in Bible study, I was like, what does that mean? And then I had to realize it's okay for the clergy person to take a vacation. It's okay. And I had to realize that for myself. It's okay to be able to say, I need to breathe for myself. Like I need to, because, the congregation would eat you alive. Because their souls still hunger for more, Right. And if there's one person that's delivering all that, you best believe that person is going to get worn out and tired. So I believe if we figure out a way to create a Bible, and we don't have to call it a Bible, a manual, but a way to make it a part of like the principles of the church. Every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be silent. I'm going to wake up and just be quiet. I'm going to literally put my feelings on top of the list. If we're taught how to do that, like, for instance, I feel like because some sermons are lacking what does that look like for persons in the congregation, is really hurting the church. We need to be teaching our congregation how to take time for themselves. You don't have to run to the church every single time to say that I'm praising God.
Absolutely.
If we learn how to praise God right where we are, I mean, COVID is doing it for us.
Exactly.
And it's like it's like God is showing us, I'm going to have to teach you how to figure this thing out for yourself one day. And not saying that this is because COVID is happening, we're being taught that. But I'm saying we're learning the importance of finding church that is inside here. We make up the church. And it's like, I feel like that's what's most important right now. Figuring out, what does self-care look like? Put it in your, I know we still got them. Put them in your bulletin. Self-care. What have you done today for yourself?
Right.
You know, because something I really want to talk about today is burnt offering. Burnt offerings. What does that look like? You know, my thing is, when you think about a burnt offering, you're thinking about something that you're giving up to God, right? And so my thing is, when you give yourself to God, do you think God wants something that's burnt out?
That's good.
You know, and when you say burnt out, I mean, God wants something healthy, physically good, you know, something that God can really appreciate. I feel like when God wants us to be used, God wants us to be at our best. And we can't be at our best when we're not taking care of ourselves.
Absolutely. And I agree. And I think even with people understanding what self-care looks like, and so I believe also that the church is lacking due to a lack of education about self-care and a lack of education around mental health and what it actually looks like. Because oftentimes people are told, pray it away. But as someone who deals with anxiety, it's an insult for someone to say, pray it away, when you don't understand the behaviors associated with anxiety, how exhausting it can be at times. And, you know, if it was as simple as praying it away, not saying that God is not able, but just saying that God also calls therapists. God calls mental health professionals. Hello, as we are walking in our calling, not only as clergy, but as, you know, mental health. And so God uses all of that. And so for me, the whole pray it away ideology is a slap in the face to someone who is dealing with mental health.
Girl,
because anxiety is real.
There's no pray it away pill that would take care of that anxiety or that mental health. That bipolar is no prayer away pill for bipolarism. It ain't for no schizophrenia. It's not for anybody who's dealing with depression, anxiety. Like, come on. Do you really say pray it away when when you feel like, you know, that, for instance, if you're dealing with some type of problem with your heart, and you know, you literally having these chest pains, and you keep saying praying away. We know, I mean, God forbid, we know God can do some amazing things, but it's some things that God had to do a step further to get that heart to calm down. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Oh,
that's a fact.
Lord, I can't stand hearing these voices. Pray, I'm gonna take it away. I'm serious.
I know, but that's funny.
But it's funny though.
But that's real,
because we've been there. So it's like, Lord, I'm checking these doors again. Pray it away. Like, but you're still doing it though. Come on.
Right. And that's why I'm like, with anxiety, I'm like, it is exhausting. And even, you know, just that's why my passion is to make people aware in the church, and also with Black women, as far as through education, because I'm like, maybe if we teach what it looks like, what is self-care. Self-care may be canceling the meeting. Self-care may be taking some time off. Self-care may be leaving the job. And I think if only we were taught that, and if only those things were honored as courageous and brave, to walk away from things that are no longer serving you, versus the opposite, which we're taught endure. Pain is a prerequisite. No, I'm sorry.
Listen, when I hear the word of enduring something, especially when it's coming from a negative, you know, experience, I'm thinking about that whip that master has in his hand, and he just whipping you, telling you to keep taking it. Well, Dad, why I gotta keep taking this pain? Like, they don't respect me at work, still,
Right.
it's all right. Just suck it up.
Right.
Be
Deal with
quiet.
it.
Don't say nothing. Don't advocate for yourself. Let me tell you something.
Exactly.
I'm going through some stuff with my job, right? And I had to tell upper management, I'm the only person who's going to advocate for myself. You're not. Therefore, if I have something, if there's a problem, I'm going to speak up. And if you, and that, I mean, that's just what it is. Period.
Right.
Now we teleworking. Period.
Right.
I'm going to advocate for myself because
Absolutely.
you're not. You're going to
Hello.
protect you and your job. And hey, you do that, boo. But right now, I got to protect my mind. I got to protect my chest because I'm going to the ER too much. We have to be careful about what we digest into ourselves, because that has a lot to do with how we're going to receive it, and how we're going to deal with that thing, because we get so caught up thinking that we got to take everything. We got to take racism. We got to take sexism. We got to take all the damn isms, okay? And it's
exactly.
Like, why?
Girl, you preaching. And I even think about that because earlier today I was just thinking about how we as Black women, we have this collective trauma that we endure on a daily basis. As you mentioned, all the isms, like we are literally going through the microaggressions. But not only that, we also have the voices of the oppressed, which I consider those people who look like us, other Black women who don't see our power because they're unable to see the power in themselves based on society. I'm saying that you're not good enough as Black women.
Bad.
Yeah, definitely. And so just navigating so many times through the workplace, just trying not, if you show any emotion, then you're labeled as the angry Black woman. We're not able to express our emotions and share our emotions. And so all of those things, and I just even thinking about how, some people, they like, I was raised by a strong Black woman. I never saw her cry. I never saw my mother cry. And for me, that is a little problematic because, and to some degree, I wonder if never seeing certain parents cry or your mother crying, if that created emotional stoicism in us, the resting face, because we're unable to show those emotions. Like, what do you think about that? Like the whole idea of, oh, my mother was a strong Black woman. I never saw her cry. If anything was going on, I never knew about it. And so do you believe protecting children to that degree actually stifles them emotionally and mentally?
I agree on that. And I really, growing up, and I'm 30 now, about to go on 31 next month. Ooh, praise Lord, I see it. I really have learned to hate strong Black woman. It's become like a like the poster child of taking everything from everybody. Receiving all hurt and pain because you are a strong Black woman. Yes. Well, why? I mean, we both consider ourselves as womanist theologians. Absolutely. And so when I was in seminary and I was in Faith Harris class in womanist theology, it was amazing. It was during those conversations where I understood those different ways that, white oppressed people, even sometimes other Black folks who may say, give us those type of what is the word I'm trying to look for? Those type of like ways of categorize us to like being a strong Black woman. Like, why? That's just another way of keeping us limited, as if we're just this big, Black, woman that has no feelings, no emotions, we don't cry. And I love who my mom is because she's emotional as heck. And I'm like, I think that's amazing. She shows me when she's angry, when she's literally happy, when she's, emotionally, because that's real. Because you imagine growing up with a parent and not seeing their emotions. I need to know where you come from. I need to know where, I need to know when you're mad, okay? Like, for instance, even to our Black men, I think I've seen my dad emotional, and I've seen him cry. He probably like, no, you haven't, but I have. But I think that's a beautiful thing, because I think all people should be intact with their feelings and not being afraid to not show them, because I believe that, white oppression has created this notion that they still control us in a way where we don't want to show our feelings. If you think about enslavement or slavery,
absolutely,
it was like when the child's father's getting whipped, and it's like the man had to keep that feeling inside.
right,
It's like,
right.
so it's like I read a lot, I watch a lot of movies, and people probably say, why do you like watching slavery movies? Because it's important. You literally see that same history repeat itself over and over, even in the work in when you're working.
Right.
It's like my boss feels like what did she tell me? She goes, I'm writing you up because you didn't put in your time when I told you to. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I said, you're writing me up because I didn't do what you said at that time. And we're teleworking, and we are dealing with clients and all that stuff. And I was like, so you took your time to basically write me up and to basically show me your power. Because at the end of the day, it's about power.
Absolutely.
People feeling like they have power over you. And I was just like, okay, so this is why I'm being written up today. Okay. And there's so many other things going on right now with our jobs. This is most important right now. So it's important for you to show me how powerful you are. Just like with racism, it's important for the oppressor to show you how powerful you are. And then they expect you to be quiet. Moment we start talking and saying how we really feel, Brittany, you're getting too excited. No, bitch, I'm just tired of you talking to me in a kind of way.
Right.
Excuse my language, but that's just how
that's real.
That's real. I'm sorry.
Real.
But it's like, so you just want me, to feel like I'm powerless. I mean, come on.
Right.
It's one thing to work at a job and you have respect for your supervisor, and your supervisor have respect for you. But it's one thing, you just got to show your power just because you feel like you can, because you feel like you can just talk to me. And if I say how I feel, I'm being, I'm being out of character, or I need to be quiet. Like, what is that all about? We are, I'm not enslaved. Like, I'm going to say how I feel. I'm going to be respectful. But that's just, I don't understand that. It's about power at the end of the day.
Right. Absolutely. Even going back, yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. Definitely about power. And I believe even in the Black church, the power as well. People don't want to relinquish their privilege, so they go along with whatever. And even just speaking back to how you said your mother showed those emotions. And so with my upbringing, my mother did not show those emotions. And so it was emotional stoicism, and so the way that I interpreted that, I then grew up and I became hardcore. Like, I don't show, but very sensitive. But on the outside, I don't show those emotions, but will cry at the drop of a dime when a door is closed. So
girl,
it's just like now, just pretty much relearning and kind of reparenting myself, because my mother is that way based on her experiences, and so that trickled down. And so now me breaking those cycles and saying, okay, I want to show those emotions. And just getting to that place of, okay, it's okay if you cry. It's okay if you're upset. It's okay if you don't know how you feel. Like, it's just okay, however that is. And so I think that emotional intelligence is really important. And I wish that we push that more, like, because we were taught in the church that any emotion outside of happiness or joy is bad. Like,
no, for real though. Like, girl, you got to come to church,
right?
They play that music. You better be happy. You better
exactly.
God. Listen,
let me go shout. Let me look too blessed to be stressed.
Okay,
like, girl,
like,
girl, have a seat.
Girl, have a seat with that. No one's trying to hear that. Okay,
exactly.
You just flushed your husband out this morning.
Exactly.
And you just beat your kids.
Exactly.
On the way. So listen,
exactly.
Don't give me that.
Right.
That's it's so real though, because I tell you, it's like, this is what cracks me up about church folk. My folk, our folk.
Right.
It's like, you wake up, you're going through real life stuff to prepare for church. Everything is probably chaotic. You're probably fussing. Dang it, I just ran my stockings. The devil messed with me this morning. You know, you pissed off. You got to find you some new stockings, you know, that stuff. Now, I'm old school still, so I do wear stockings. But
oh, no, ma'am. You can have it.
I'm working on it, okay? There's some things I'm trying to work on still. Look, my girlfriend's mom be like, she was trying to be slick one day, and she left me some stockings here. I said, oh, they got jokes. I got
that
this.
Is too
you know,
funny.
It's like, at this time, I feel like it was probably high. I said, oh, y'all trying to be funny. But no, my little joke. But what I'm trying to say is, it's like we forget how we get to church, right? And so we act like all those emotions that were a part of us preparing for church stop, and then when we get in church, we're happy. And so my thing is, that's weird. That's like just be who you are. Right. My mom and I, we're like this. And when we'll be getting ready for church and everything, and say I'm, you know, maybe I had party a couple, you know, the night before, and I just got back, and so I'm just like, you know, still trying to wake up. Now, you know, this is probably in my early stages of trying to figure out, okay, what does this ministry look like? But just to bring it up, you know, we'll come in church literally arguing. I done plucked her nerves. She plucked my nerves. We'll come in there, and I'm probably still, you know, in my early 20s, still got an attitude. At least I can say I was being real about mine, because you got some folks that come in there and, you know, they turn it off right there. Now, that scares me, because if I know you could turn off just like that and be happy and then act like you can't share your emotions, like, come on, be who you are. Right. Show me who you are.
Right. And the sad part about it is because the church is supposed to be the hospital, the place where you are sick, the place where you're able to be vulnerable, the place where all of the broken, we come in broken, we come in with our stuff, but somehow we've been taught in our community, you come in, you dress up, you fake it, you put a smile on. That's just what it is. You shout, you run around, talk in the parking lot, get in your car, and you're a Grinch. You mean you cussing out everybody.
And you go right back to that.
You talk exactly. You talking about everybody as you saw at church. It's so unhealthy.
It is
so unhealthy,
and it's so bad too when you watch your clergy people do it too. And I'd be like,
right. That's
what
too
makes
much,
it
and that's
worse.
how. I was gonna say, because I think I would find myself there as well. Like Rashad just said, leave your stuff at the door. But that even relates to, I don't know if you were ever taught this, but when you go to work, you leave your issues at the door. And so when you step in work, and that's so unhealthy, because like you mentioned, how do you just turn it off? You don't just turn it off. No, I got pissed off on my way here, so I'm gonna come in this office. I'm not gonna be at 100, and that is okay. And so today, okay, don't talk to me. Give me some space. And that's okay. Yeah. And I wish that we really gave people the space to be. Or even when men would say, like, they'll see a woman and they say, smile. Dude,
girl, I got a problem with that. I cannot stand that. That literally makes me want to just take them and choke them. See? Like, do you tell your mama to smile?
Exactly.
You tell your grandma to smile?
Exactly.
Like, don't do that to me. Who are you to tell me when to smile? I don't want to smile. I want to I want to look mean today.
Like, exactly. This is what it is today. Period.
Exactly.
Leave me alone.
Like, I didn't wake up with you. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
No, I didn't.
Exactly. Girl. And I even realized, look, that workaholism, like in this culture now, is pretty much like this grind culture. So people are celebrating the grind, always being on, always having to do something. And I believe even with COVID, I'm not saying God or anything like that, but it's interesting how COVID has slowed everyone down, whether you want to or not. And so literally having to sit with your thoughts, sit with your emotions, and take your hands off of projects and just really like just be. And so how has that, what do you think about that entire experience as far as like just having to be? Because I know you mentioned COVID earlier and how everything has had to slow down. I think in this culture of not being able to rest, like where does that come from? Do you believe that goes back to slavery as well?
So I really do believe, okay, so the whole B thing is funny because I have like my t-shirt line that I kind of put on pause, and it's like B period. And so I had to figure out You know, first it came from my initial, like, you know, my name starting with a B. And then I was like, dang, you know, the letter B stands alone by itself, and it's still powerful. And it's powerful without really saying it, but it's even more powerful when you're doing it, when you're being, right? And so when I came up with that whole saying, and I'm sure I've seen it everywhere now. Now I'm just like over it. Be kind, be this, be that. I'm like, shut up, you know, like it's so annoying. But to really practice to be in the presence of God, that's a whole different situation. Because when I moved from Hampton Roads to Richmond and to go to seminary, I was in my apartment, my 379 square feet apartment. Girl, literally, it was like you walked in, you were in my kitchen. You turned to the left, you were in my bedroom. So I was just like, it was so quiet. And I was on the 12th floor. And I'm just like, I literally didn't hear anything. If I heard anything, it was probably like the police or whatever. Because I was I was downtown on Broad Street.
Okay.
And so I had a lot of moments hearing my thoughts. And most of the times it was like, I'm not trying to hear this today. They're too much. I don't know if this is my anxiety. I don't know if I'm hearing God. I don't know what I'm hearing right now. So I'm just like, this is too much. And sometimes for people and for me, being in complete silence is loud, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so when I say that, I'm thinking about, dang, every single thing. But then it's like, I'm trying not to hear God's voice in a way. And sometimes when we're in a complete silence, God wants us to hear its voice. So my thing is, the voice may not sound what we may think a voice should sound. It could be imagery. It could be something that God puts in our spirit and we see.
Right.
So sometimes sitting in silence, it is a scary thing. And I feel like because we have been, because of slavery and felt that, you know, and being told that we can't say nothing, we can't talk. I think it's putting I think it's made it difficult to really be able to hear God's voice, hear what God is saying. And so I do believe in, you know, now that in my spiritual, I'll say in my spiritual, you know, life, being silent is a beautiful thing, right? It's like a twofold thing. Being silent is a beautiful thing when you're spiritually trying to become more inclined with the spirit, right? But then when it's being used for power from the oppressor, it can also be very daunting and very, you know, scary and fearful, because then they make you feel like you can't even open your mouth, because then you're being too emotional. But when you're trying to listen to God's voice, that could be scary too, because there could be some things that you're dealing with that you're really not trying to come to face with, and God's trying to slow you down and just be quiet.
Right.
And so it's like, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing to me, from my experience, you know. You know, and I say it depends on who is, I guess, navigating that stillness, you know. Are you telling me to be quiet from the oppressor because you feel like you have power over me and I can't say nothing? But then when you're thinking about God's spirit, it's like you're trying to understand what God is trying to say to you. So it could be scary on both sides to me. Because girl, I tell you, when I be sitting in my old apartment, and I'll be like, I was talking to my pastor, and I was like, it's so quiet. Like, what is God saying? And some of the stuff was like, no, I don't want to give that up. It is like God telling me, no, you need to, you know, fast from this. You need to, you know, really focus on what ministry is doing. So it could be, for me, it could be good and bad, you know, because sometimes I want to function in chaos. Sometimes I don't want to be, you know, be silent. You know, I need to hear that TV going or the little noise or stuff. But it could be a good thing. I feel like it depends on where that person is in their spiritual life.
And you know what's funny? I'm the person, I love silence. I think because growing up in my household, it was just always noise. And so like now being alone, it's like I love the silence. It's therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
Just the space, it's not awkward. Even if it's just blank, I may just be chilling. And so like my mom, she'd be like, that's so weird. How you don't turn music on or the TV or something? But for me, it's like, it's how I unwind. I don't know if it's the introvert in me. but
Mm-hmm.
it's I get recharged in that moment. If I've been out all day socializing and being an extrovert, and then I come back into my space and it's like, whoo, I can just be and breathe, and it's really like a whoo as soon as I
Yeah,
close
it's
the
like
door.
it for some it relaxes you. But I
Mhm.
also think too, maybe this is spirit talking to me. Sometimes maybe when I'm not interested in being in silence, there's probably some things that I'm dealing with and I'm not trying to talk about it with God.
Mm.
And so it's like God is probably, and so this is just me probably ministering to myself.
Right.
Okay, I get it. So I get it now. It's this,
Mhm.
I feel like God just does that to me sometimes. Like, let me tell you about you. But
Right.
that's what
That's
it could be
real.
for some people. We
Mhm.
dealing with stuff that we're not trying
Mm.
to deal with, and then we're afraid that silence is going to make it,
Mm.
real.
Right.
But
That's
I do
good.
believe that, when we're out and about working, and for me it's teleworking, when I'm in the
Mhm.
bathroom, that's girl, when I'm in the closet, I
Mhm.
literally one night it was so funny. It was like probably the first week of telework, and I was just like mentally done. I went
Mhm.
right into my closet, literally behind me, and I said, you
Mhm.
know what? I just turned up the light, and my girlfriend came in and checked me. She was just like, "Oh, okay." Sometimes you got to have that moment,
Mhm.
we all have that space. If it's in the bathroom, the closet, in
Right.
your car. Now the car be the best place,
Yeah,
but
and girl, it is therapy.
girl,
Seriously. Yes.
like it's like you got to have your hiding place,
Mm.
and I had to
Mm.
learn for that. Like that's important.
That's major. Somebody need to drop that in the comments. You need to have your hiding place. That's powerful. And I
I
think that is
appreciate
so,
that. Yeah.
yeah, because many of us, we actually burn out and then try to figure out what can I do differently instead of actually saying the steps like, okay, I'm on the verge of burnout. And so I love the analogy of a car because I'm laughing at Rashad, laughing at me. But when
I can't
I
see
think
none of the
about,
messages. I'm just like,
you
I wish I could
can't?
see.
Oh my
No,
gosh. Okay. What? That's so weird. But yeah, so I
but it's
think about
okay
a
though. It's
car.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think about a car, how you have to get the car service. And so, when the check engine light comes on, you don't just keep driving. Well, sometimes you do. If you don't have the money and you don't want to deal with it, yeah, you can keep driving. And so our bodies operate in the same way. Like when our bodies are letting us know you're too tired, you need to rest, but then we keep going and then we burn out, or then we have the panic attack, or then we have the breakdown. And it's like, what would you tell someone to do before reaching burnout? So how can they incorporate self-care into their lives before burnout?
So I would say, honestly, I'm a planner girl. I love my planner,
Mm.
right? Now, am I good with it? Not all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we need to jot down
Mm.
what's going on. And when we start writing down things that we are doing that's a habit before the burnout, that should
Mm.
trigger, okay, I need to step back. I feel my emotions because I feel like our body does tell us, like, the
Mm-hmm.
engine light comes on. Oh, we about to be low on some fuel and you got like 20 miles
Oh
to go.
yeah.
Our bodies
Mm-hmm.
tell us that. And so before that happens, I think we can feel that energy and we just need to sit,
Mm-hmm.
regroup,
Mm-hmm.
and figure out what is it something that I can do to recharge me.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get that recharge?
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's playing a video game, I have no shame about it. I like games. Or if it's playing a game on your phone, if it's just sitting and drinking some water or
Right.
going to go work out, you know what your body needs to recharge. So it's
Right.
important for you to jot down, okay, when this happens, I start to feel this way. And then start just like not playing a game with yourself, but just figure out like, okay, I see this is happening. All right, this is happening when this happens when I start to like get really stressed and anxiety starts. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I need to just scale back and see, okay, this is not working out. I need to just sit for a second. And like I said, I would come up with different activities that will allow you to recharge, whatever that thing
Mm.
may be, reading a book, anything that's going to allow you to slow down.
Right.
Because we have been taught to keep it moving, even in America.
Right.
Everything
Right.
fast, going, going, going. For
Right.
me, I have always been and not anymore. Praise the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I had always been in competition with myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need to graduate at this time. I need to graduate early. Did it when I was in seminary. I want to graduate in 2019. I don't care. No, I know I'm supposed to graduate in 2020, but no, I'm being done. And what I was doing, I was really pushing really hurting myself because I wasn't allowing myself to really enjoy life. And so I feel like because we're so caught up in this world of doing everything quick, doing it this way, and there's no room for breathing, for our lives to breathe, for our energy to breathe, it kind of puts us in a place of burnout. So it's like we have to figure out what we need to do to calm ourselves down. For instance, I like to burn my oils that I create. It puts me in a place of just relaxing. Like you say, how you like to sit in silence and like to recharge that way. I would literally just just check yourself, have a check-in with yourself. You know, it may sound weird saying, hey, what's up? Brittany, how you doing today? Not talking like that, but but just connecting with yourself and understanding, okay, today wasn't a good day. And then you figure out why wasn't a good day? Well, I allowed this person to get me so upset that I, started stressing out. And I think, not to go to a different subject, you know how you brought up traumatic situations, right? You know, with my traumatic stuff. There is a theory, and if my girlfriend's watching this, she's probably gonna laugh at me, but I love it. It's a theory called internal family systems, right? And basically, it really works on the internal parts that's within us, right? And so basically, we have these parts. We have this thing called parts. We have managers, and we have exiles, and then we have ourself, right? So we try to figure out, why do we do the things we do when it comes to certain situations. So say for instance, I mean, this is not an instance, but I've had a traumatic situation in my life, right? And the parts inside me try to protect me, right, from that trauma event. Now, say that traumatic event was at 16 years old, right? We do things that try to protect us from that traumatic situation, right? And so I bring this up. I feel like because we've dealt with different traumatic scenarios, situations in our lives that have impacted us, it really feeds into how we deal with certain situations and with us, and being in self-care, or really understanding who we are. So that's just something I feel like you will really enjoy it, because it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to research that.
Yeah, it really digs into the internal parts of who we are and why we do what we do. And so I bring that up because I feel like, because of racism, because of oppression, a lot of that has affected who we are as Black people, Black women, Black men. And it has a lot to do with how we operate in this world. Like we brought up the strong Black woman scenario, or being a strong Black man. And so it's like all of that has a connection with how we try to operate within ourselves. I don't know. That was just laid on me to say that. So I feel like that would bless. I feel like that would bless you, and bless the work that you do.
Right, I'm gonna check that out. Seriously,
it's IFS. It's internal family systems. It's beautiful. I don't know if you can send books virtually, but if I can, I'm gonna give you the person that is that came up with this theory. And so I think it's a beautiful thing, because I feel like we all have been affected, by some type of traumatic abuse, even if we were not, even if we weren't like, if it wasn't done to us, how can I explain this? Even if it wasn't done to us intentionally, it has been caught up. It's a part of our culture, and we've been affected by it,
Absolutely. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
definitely believe that we have a collective trauma as Black people, and then even the way in which we see trauma, because so many people only see it as maybe physical things, but even thinking about again the collective trauma in the Black community, if you're living in what people call the hood, in underserved communities is what I like to say, and then say they're used to gunshots, and then you have to jump on the floor, that's traumatic, and so and then being Black people in the world afraid of the police and having to adjust to that, so then that's traumatic as well. And so I think about even the emotional traumas that we
Hmm.
experience as well. Even if your parent was present physically but emotionally they were unavailable, that's trauma. And just even the way that we see trauma as a people, I believe we need to open our view, because trauma is so broad. And
Yeah,
so
it
Rashad did
is.
post, go ahead, yeah, it's very broad.
No, go ahead about
Rashad
what
posted
Rashad
a
posted.
question. He posted a question for you. He said, "Are the oils for aromatherapy?"
Oh yes, they are. I can't wait to share them with you all. Yeah, they are. And a lot of it,
Yeah.
I do spiritual and life coaching. So I've created these oils just for that. Right now, I'm burning an oil. I don't know if you see it, but I'm burning some oil right now, and it's
Mm.
called Mother God, and it has
Come on.
frankincense. Yes, girl, come on now. I told you this woman is. Listen, it's all through. It's all through here. Okay.
Okay.
Period. But we
Period.
have womanist. Period. We have womanist. I didn't get to share. I didn't share that about what exactly that came from. So the line actually came from inspiration from womanist theology. Okay,
Mm.
so a lot of the names are very strong. They're very powerful, and I feel like we can all connect with it. For instance, Mother God has frankincense and myrrh, and we know the powerful story behind that in biblical,
Mm.
the biblical story of frankincense and myrrh, and how it was given to Jesus. And so my thing was, my beautiful Black people, we deserve that too. And so I packaged it right in an oil, a bottle like this, and we also have it in this size if you just want to try it. And that's the 5 milliliters, and this is the 1 ounce. And so we have the oils just like that. I pray with them. I actually created a altar in my bedroom because it was just a moment where I need to come. I wanted to connect with my ancestors. I was like, I didn't connect, And so I thought about frankincense and myrrh, and I thought about pearberry, and all the other scents that we have. And I lit my incense. I did my prayer, and I really believe connecting to our ancestors is really important. And then I that's what I do, and I pray with them. Anytime I create these oils, I make sure that I'm in a place where to create. And so my girlfriend and I, we both create them together, which is so amazing because she keeps me like together, like
Mm-hmm.
period. Because I can go like, let's mix this, let's mix that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, she keeps me together. So we do have those. We have frankincense, myrrh, pearberry, and we actually blend them all together ourselves. So this is we have Heavenly, that's a 2-part blend. And this has vanilla and myrrh in it. And then we have, that's Heavenly again, frankincense and myrrh with pearberry. Yeah, so that's in there. Yeah. So then we have lilyberry with, lilyberry is more fruity. We have Kingdom, which like the
Mm.
men really love Kingdom because it's very strong,
Mm.
very powerful for our soulful, beautiful, strong women, men, and that has citrus in it and grapefruit. And it's a nice
Mm.
way to open you up. So I got you,
Mm.
Bill, because I told you I was like, I was not thinking, but I
I
got you,
guess
boo.
okay.
Yeah, I got you. But it you can that's what you use them for. You can burn them, diffuse them, you can wear them. A lot of my clients actually wear them. For
Mm.
Mother God, whenever I'm stressed out, because I feel like something about frankincense and myrrh is just so holy. I don't know what
Mm.
it's something about those scents together. And when I'm stressed out, I'll get my little roller on the go. I call them rollers on the go because they're really tiny. And I'll put it on and I'll just inhale it and I just feel really good. You know, one thing about me, what I've learned while creating these oils, for instance, sitting in silence, you know, being in silence, but our senses, our five senses are so
Right.
important. You know,
Absolutely.
feeling, touching, you know,
Yes.
tasting. I don't taste these oils, but I tell you, the scents are so good. I'm like, dang, this would be something amazing to eat.
Hmm.
But don't eat them, okay? They're not for food.
Right.
But anyway,
Don't eat them, y'all.
no, no, I need y'all to still live the next day,
Right.
okay?
We need you to live.
Okay. But yeah, you can use them for that. You can go to my website, brittany-erica-lyons.com. If I have it right in my bio, and you can, you know, go right there, click on the URL, and you can purchase them right there. And we also sell diffusers. I feel like with this brand, it's really geared for us, because I feel like we don't take enough time for us to connect with ourselves. And I don't want people to feel like they got to go to someone else to get what they already have. And so we have the power of God in us. We come from the source of God,
Come
you know,
on.
and sometimes we have to realize sitting in silence is good.
Mm.
Sitting amongst your oil or whatever that thing may be is good.
Mm.
And so we sell diffusers with a package deal where you can get two and a diffuser just for $88.
Mm.
And you get two of the 5 milliliters right here, this size, and with your diffuser. So I'm putting those in the website, but we are doing pre-orders. So if you want one, just hit me up in my DM or whatever, and we'll get that taken care of. But yeah, you gotta sometimes sit at the feet of the Lord.
Yes. And
Yeah,
I
you
love
gotta.
how intentional you are with your oils. Like the
Thank
intentionality
you.
behind it, like listening to you share how each oil was created. That's beautiful. Like seriously.
Thank you. And I appreciate what you do, because we have to be intentional about our self-care.
Mm.
And we are so afraid of that. It's like, we free now? Yeah, we free now.
Right.
We could be.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's okay to be mad.
Yes.
It's okay. Like, own it. Figure it.
Own
Because my
it.
thing is, like, we wondering why there's so much turmoil in this world. It's because people are not taking the time out to understand why they're mad, first of all.
Absolutely.
Are you really understanding why you're that angry? Do you know why you don't like this person, or why you hate
Exactly.
this race so bad? Why do you hate black people so bad that you will go out and just kill them dead? Like, why?
Right.
What is something about you that you don't like about you, that you have felt
Exactly.
that you have to put that same kind of energy into a whole different race of people?
Exactly. And I even think about just how in the church, the scripture, love your neighbor as you love yourself. I'm like,
Yes.
people are not able to fully love their neighbor because they don't really love themselves, or they don't know what healthy love looks like. And I even think about in the aspect of people not even being able to receive love from God because they don't know what that love looks like. Because in their eyes, love may be abuse, it may be
Mm,
abandonment. And so just even being intentional as people, period, when we're out and communing with others, just being kind, because you may be the only example of God and Jesus that people will ever see.
girl,
Because it
yeah.
looks so foreign to so many
That's a
people.
word. That's
Like,
a word.
seriously.
That's a word. Because one thing when God um when I was figuring out what ministry and running for ministry, literally running around the church, trying to run away from ministry, and
Mm-hmm.
not realizing God was really doing the ministry during that run.
Mm-hmm.
It was more so that God was talking with me and stating, you need to be, I don't want to say you need to be, I don't need to be God, because God is already in me. So when
Mm-hmm.
I see you, I see God. When I see myself, I see
Mm-hmm.
God. So therefore, if I learn how to operate from being godly, then I can be able to protect my spirit. I can be able to be as healthy as possible. And I mean emotionally, I mean physically,
Absolutely.
mentally. That means whatever I do, you will see a piece of God
Mm.
in me, and I can see it in you. And I feel like if people really operate to understand that we are the source of God, they
Mm.
would be treating themselves with more respect. and with love and integrity. And by doing that, they would treat others the same exact way.
Right. That's
You
good.
don't, it's like you don't know who you are. And because you don't know who you are, you don't know how to treat your neighbor the right way.
Exactly.
So once
Because
you
you don't know
learn
who you are.
exact
Yeah, that's the word.
girl, that is a word. Jesus.
And so
It's so
Rashad asked
real.
the question while we were talking. He said, what would you, wait, let me go back to it. He said, what would you say to a 55-year-old woman struggling with self-care? So I'll let you
First,
answer first.
first, I would give her a hug and I would pray, because if you're struggling with self-care, then that struggle is actually is literally deep inside. And I would look at her in her eyes and I would tell her it is okay to love you first. Because self-care is love. That's all. That's what it is. It's really, I would tell her you can stop the fighting. You can put that aside. You are important. Look, I ain't trying to take it back to the hell. You important. You special. No, we ain't gonna do that.
But seriously.
But seriously though, I would tell her straight up, it's okay to love who you are. And you don't have to love where you are, because where you are right now, God has you in this place of hurt and pain. But it's okay to love you.
Right.
And it's okay to relearn how to love you.
Absolutely. I'm like, what would I tell her? I think I would just pretty much talk to her about the duality of life's experiences. And so you can love your job and still need a break. You can be with your soulmate and still need me time. And just understanding that just because you can be a good mother and still desire a break, just realizing that your human nature. I think we forget sometimes that we're people, our human nature, so I would tell her rest, put herself first, be selfish if that's what it takes in that aspect.
Jesus rest.
And hello, Jesus rested, God rested. And so
it really baffles me, because the Bible talks about that. Let's point blank in the story.
Yeah,
we have the Sabbath day for a reason. Now, like I said, I don't believe everything in the Bible. There's some things I have to pray about before I digest it, if I choose to. But there's some things that's just point blank in a story. There's a reason why Jesus rested. Okay. God rested.
Okay.
And so my thing is, if the person that we put here did what they did and rested when they did, why are we so different?
Right.
What makes us different?
Right. I would also tell her to release any guilt that she feels for for taking the time, because again, even I believe in the church. I'm trying to think of what is the scripture. I have it written down. But pretty much just always talking about like do for others. Do for others, care for others, put other people's needs first. And I believe that somehow this whole the unhealthy patterns somehow even started biblically, from those perspectives, because it's and then understanding the interpretation of the text of that time and not taking everything
who was writing
literal.
It? My thing is people who wrote it.
Exactly.
Think about the writers.
Exactly.
Okay? First of all, let's be honest. We were not.
Okay.
Were they thinking about this blackface when they was writing that stuff down?
So exactly. And so, I'm really. Oh, go ahead.
And so even like when you think with the Bible, well, let's talk about how let's talk about Christianity for a second. Let's talk about how that was honestly used to enslave us with it. How certain things in the Bible. Let's talk about how there's certain books in the Bible that were voted out.
Absolutely.
And so all of it, a lot of it is for control. Let's be honest. It is what it is. There are things in the Bible that are beautiful stories that we all should, you know, take part and listen and read and take note of. But there's some stuff that I just be like, you know,
Right.
yeah.
And you know what? And so that goes with what I was pretty much trying to say. So about the whole idea of being a servant. And so people wear, oh, I'm a servant, you know, they wear it as an honor badge. And I believe that when people say it too much, it's like, okay, so you're negating yourself. You don't care about yourself. And it's like, you're even taught that if you don't feel good, you know, do something for somebody else. Like, what? You know, it's like this whole idea of give to somebody else, do for somebody else, even if you're depleted, even if, you know, it's what you are in need of, just do for somebody else and it'll make you feel better. So it's this idea of this super servant, and it's not realistic.
It's not, it's really whack.
It is.
Like, I'm sorry. If I'm tired and I have other people who can pick up where I left off, if I got clergy,
Exactly.
if I have clergy there that I trust and I have appointed to be there, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm the senior pastor and I'm tired and I'm dead tired, and I know the persons that I've put in place that can take over, then let them do it. What's the person? Some folks just, some people, you got some pastors out there who are just so caught up in themselves that they don't know the fact that they're on the road of on the verge of burnout, but they're so afraid to allow their people who are already there to take, you know.
Right.
What's the point?
Right. I agree.
I mean, my thing is, if you got people right there that can help you, let them help you. Try to take you rather, you know, to keep doing it. No way, I'm sick, but I'm gonna keep doing. I'm over here. Matthew said, you know, I'm still trying to do that sermon, and you,
Right.
bruh, you know good as well. I've been waiting for this day. Like, let me do
it. Right.
She's trying to still preach, and you coughing up.
Right. Like, girl, have somewhere. And so, look, we have a question. So the question says, what would you say to a woman who is dating a pastor, and when she vents, he always says you need to go to church, you don't have a spiritual connection?
I would tell him to shove him in his spirituality. Let me stop. No, for real, I would tell her that even though that's your husband, your partner,
well, they're not married, just dating.
Even though that's your boyfriend, the person that you're dating, he is not your spiritual leader. He is just what he is, your boyfriend. And because I can resonate, because I've dated a pastor before, I would say I was in my early 20s, so you know, we don't know any better sometimes, and we thinking because, well, they're a pastor, they're a preacher, I should be able to go to them. That does not mean that they have been ordained to be able to pastor you, if that makes sense. So I would say connect with someone that you trust, either in ministry or someone that is someone that's a mentor or a friend in the church, and talk to them. I will honestly, I would not go that route, because then they will feel the way, they would take their personal beliefs or what they believe God is saying to them and put that on you. And that may not be what God is trying to tell you. So I would definitely connect with someone other than that person that you're dating.
He also said that he downplays seeing a counselor.
Yeah, so he needs to see one too. Seriously, he needs, no, for real. He needs to see one too. Yeah, because my thing is, if he's downplaying a counselor and he's saying, well, you know, it's a song, what is it? I forgot who it's by, but it's like the lady is singing it, and she's basically saying God is her doctor, her dentist, her physician, her this, her that, and that. And you just be like, bruh, I need you to stop. Seriously. I would honestly say connect with someone that you are comfortable with. And there's actually a lot of ministers who are counselors, licensed clinical counselors, or life coaches who do spiritual coaching. And I would talk with them, because if he's downplaying counselors himself, he needs to see one himself. That's why. And he really not trying to deal with it. He's using God. I say, sis, pray for him. And I say, go I say pray for his soul, because we know when we pray for a person's soul, that's where the work needs to be done at. And one day he will understand that whatever he's battling with, he needs to go actually be free enough to talk to someone too. So I would definitely say talk with a counselor. There's a lot of counselors out there who actually who are ministers, and they actually use spirituality on the basis of how they do counseling. So that's what I would say, honestly, because I remember those days dating a pastor, and that was like the worst.
And I would even say basically to, you know, how does that drain you at all? Just to think about, does that drain you, your desire to see a counselor and him, you know, being opposed to it? Does that mentally drain you? Do you feel disconnected from him as a result of it? What is keeping you in the relationship? Not saying walk away from the relationship, but to examine the relationship to see in what other areas is that affecting, you know, him not being open to mental health. Because as Brittany
My
mentioned,
thing,
what's going on? Like you're not free enough to embrace this aspect of mental health.
and sis, I will always say too, okay, so you all are dating, and one thing I will really be, one thing that we're taught in the church is when we make that next step to marriage, we are told to go see maybe a counselor, get what is it,
A pre
what is it called, I'm sorry.
marital counseling.
Yeah, so I would be interested to know what is his take on that, because we're taught to do that. And so, that will only make me feel as if there's some things he's dealing with that he's not ready to come to just come to face with, for him not to want to talk it out. Because what counseling does, it allows you to talk things out, and then it allows for that other person to really understand, okay, how do we navigate the situation so that we can help this person, get through what they're getting through. And counseling is a great thing. Trust me, therapy is awesome.
It is. I love it.
It's the bomb. Like, and now you can do it on your laptops and stuff, and your phone. We need that. And also, says there's other ways to get that counseling in too, by emailing and by texting. They have a lot of different counseling apps for that too. Black Girl Therapy. That's an awesome, I feel like that's an application that you can look into as well.
And I was going to also say, and in my bio, I have a link that will send you directly to mental health resources, and it's Black mental health professionals. So if you are looking for whatever it is, it's just there. You click, it'll send you straight there. You can search your, based on your location, but as Sis mentioned, they're virtual. So it's a lot of different options, because therapy is a great thing. And I think if we really just normalize therapy more, because you don't necessarily need to see a counselor when things are wrong, but just for support sometimes, it's a really, really good thing. And I wish that we really get to a place of embracing that more.
Yeah, I honestly would like to, and I feel like, I know it's like on the spot, but I feel like it would be a great idea to start some type of group or something where we can just have these check-ins, because it's important. It really is. I like that.
I like that. And, that's been on my mind for a while. But I've been dragging my feet. So come on. I hear you guys talking through.
Come on, God. That would be a beautiful thing. Because with what I do for life coaching, I call myself like a little hub, because everybody's not trying to do counseling, period. Everybody's not trying to do it. And so what I do, and even for you, for your services, what I would do, I basically do like a screening thing. Oh, okay. You want coaching? Okay, cool. Then I start seeing, oh, you may want something a little different. And then what I will do, I will recommend them or give them a recommendation to someone else who can really help with that, with the psyche part, with the psychology part. Because I do strictly just life coaching. I do have counseling background, but it's strictly coaching. But I feel like people have to get their feet wet, because everybody doesn't want to do counseling, and that's okay. But it's also good to explore other avenues. So you could be told, you know what, coaching is good for you, but maybe you want to look into something a little more in depth. And that's something that I do with my business. And I think it's great what you do, your life coaching and giving recommendations to other counselors as well, because we need to be able to have those places where, okay, to figure out what's good for me. What do I really need at this point?
Right. And I was going to say, and even just recently coming into an awareness from God of saying, okay, I'm going to pursue master's social work. Lord knows I'm tired of school. But just because I really do want to be able to be the therapist and the life coach. And so I do have, the background.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so important, even when God calls me to where I believe God is calling me, which I hate to talk about. But I do want to be equipped spiritually as one day as the pastor, and also being not only able to give the pastoral counseling, but the mental health counseling as well.
Yes, Ashe. Yeah. I receive that for you. I really do. And so, like, I think that's amazing. It was so funny though, because when I started my business with selling twisted oil blends, I was on the verge of doing an application for Women Married, right? For mental health counseling, right? And then God had told me with me, I could be here, then I want to be there, then I want to be everywhere, right? And so that's how I had to learn how to slow myself down. And so now I'm at a place where, you know what? I'm going to do marriage and family therapy. I'm going to go back to school. I will hope to one day do it. I will hope to one day teach at my old seminary and do this from the point of view. You think so?
Yeah.
That's the prayer, girl, because I'm like, I feel like there's not enough of, because we're so taught in the church to get married and to do this and do that. I think it's important that we learn that from a point of view of a marriage and family therapist, because sometimes that's not what God is calling us to do, even as clergy members, to get married and then get a church. That's not what it is.
Right.
It's the world is growing and it's breathing more things. Sometimes it's okay to be a single clergy person,
right?
And so with me, I feel like God has called me and is calling me back to you, but in a different way. And so if you just keep me in prayer for that, I appreciate that. I'm like, I feel like marriage and family therapy, from coming from this from the church perspective, I think is very important, because we are raising our children too much as young people to say, okay, you've been called to minister. Oh, we got to get you married. We got to get you a church. And that needs to be dead, seriously, because that's not hot anymore. Like, I can literally tell you, I ain't going to do that. I can literally tell you that ain't hot no more. It's not cool, because what you got going on is you got a lot of persons in ministry who are trying to just date whomever to get that church and that, and then you killing people because you really live in okay, let's just be honest. That needs to stop. Be the minister first.
Right.
It's okay.
Just relax.
Relax. She ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. Like, what'd you say?
But I enjoyed it. No, I said, girl, like, yeah, they're not going nowhere. But
they're not going nowhere.
I really, so I really enjoyed this live. Thank you so much for saying yes to this invitation. We have to do this again, because I feel like I could just talk all night about the topic.
Yeah, me too,
but
girl.
Is there anything? Yeah, I was gonna say, is there anything else that you would like to say, or to drop your website or any information you'd like to reiterate?
Oh yeah. So well, first I want to just say I couldn't see all the comments. I don't know why, but the energy is amazing, because I could feel it through Danielle. So this was an amazing experience. I was so nervous, but then I started feeling we just all having a conversation, like, and then we prayed. And so when we prayed earlier, I was like, girl,
you blessed me.
You blessed me. Like, the Lord, everyone on this live have really blessed me with the questions. I look forward to another live. I look forward to you all coming to my page, Brittany Erica Lyons, or at Twisted Oil Blends. Learn more about my oils, what we do. Black owned, Black girl magic all through, and I'm excited about what God is doing for everyone on this live. I say be intentional, like my girl says, about your self-care, about your life, about your emotional, your mental, and your physical. We have one temple, literally one. And so if we just continue to learn where our source comes from and that we're connected with that source, then I feel like we'll be able to really protect who we are and protect our brothers and sisters. And
Right.
just don't forget, it does take one word to ignite your purpose. That means if you are going to just be. If you're
Yes.
gonna if you're gonna be mad, then be mad. But just figure
Yes.
out why you feeling the way you do, because it happens for a reason. And so that's it. I'm Brittany Erica Lyons. Hit me up at Brittany Erica Lyons, Instagram or my Twitter, or my other Instagram, Twisted Oil Blends. My website is Brittany-Erica-Lyons.com. And this was like a great pleasure. This was so much fun.
Thank you, Britt. Thank you so much,
Thank
sis. And
you.
I just want to say to all the Black women, just know that you're not selfish for choosing you. It's okay to put yourself first. Sometimes self-care may look like ending the relationship, walking away from the job, taking the needed break that you may need away from your children, and just understanding that you can love what you do and still get tired. And so just understanding the duality of our experiences. And so if you have any questions, look, please follow my sis. Please support her oils. She's very intentional about how she created them. I believe that they will bless you. I have an oil. It's amazing. And so just good girl. And so just
Oh
allow,
yeah.
yeah, look, I had it. So I thank you so much for tuning in. If you need, you have questions, or if you need to contact either one of us, our information will be posted on the Instagram page. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
thank you. I love you. Like,
I
you
love
keep
you
doing what you're
too.
doing. No,
Oh,
keep
thank you,
doing what
sis.
you're doing because it's needed. And a lot of people are afraid of it. But listen, it's needed. It's necessary, and what you do is very intentional. And I know God is going to continue to bless your work. Don't give up. I know it can be
Mm-hmm.
tiring sometimes because you have a full-time career and then you have a full-time, career with what you're doing with your organization. But don't give up. It's going to be all right. God is connected in and out within you. So, and it shows.
Thank you, sis. No, that means so much. Girl, you're gonna make me cry on this live. But no, thank you so much. Look, I'm crying in front of people, so I'm gonna cry as soon as this
I
day
know,
ends.
right?
But no,
You
but thank
you
you.
gonna wait
Right, I'm
after
gonna have to wait because
yeah.
I'm gonna have to wait a little bit. But yeah, but no, thank you so much. That means a lot, and I needed to hear that today.
That's good. And it blesses me too. I tell you, I let God do what God does because it blesses me. Me seeing you happy, seeing you good blesses me. And so I pray that anyone that is hearing this, bless, fall in love with you first, do
Yes,
your self-care, check in with yourself so that you can be able to do the same for the next person. We can't love
yes,
anyone else until we start loving ourselves. It's not
absolutely.
possible. It's not.
I agree. Well, hi everyone. Have a good night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you again, sis. So I'm gonna text you once this is over.
Okay,
All right, y'all
thank
have a good
you.
night.
Later.